time there's an issue on it, every time there's an issue in it, I have to contact the owners of the company. They contact the web manager, the admin, and it goes. So what we have decided is we put out contract, private company to build a website that the school will own and operate. I'm hoping that it'll happen within the next month to 6 weeks. And then once that's up and running, we will have full control of what happens. There's a lot of questions about whether we can have a menu that changes on a weekly basis or fortnightly basis. Once I have control of the website, we'll be able to implement that. My idea is that we put in a basket of items, and on a weekly or fortnightly basis, we change them. So there won't be all that many options. There'll be maybe 2 or 3 options per day, but it'll change on a regular basis. I had a question about hot dogs. We took hot dogs off the menu. Specifically, I have to work within the guidelines of the health department as well as the recommendations from the Ministry of Education. There are very strict rules that govern the kind of food that are served to children in schools. They are very strict on one specific thing, and that's any food that contains a high level of nitrates and phosphates. Sausages, hot dogs, things like that, unfortunately do. So we're trying to source at the moment, together with the chef, I'm trying to source a healthier option for a hot dog, something that doesn't contain phosphates, nitrates, the things that are not allowed in cafeterias. We will be looking at doing, on the new menus, we'll be looking at doing a free Friday where hamburgers and chips and hot dog and chips will be available. But in general, I've taken chips off as an option on the menu. I don't think it's necessary. We have roast potatoes, rice, and pasta in a tomato sauce as a regular carbohydrate. And then we also do, for people coming to the students coming to the cafeteria, there's option. We often have couscous and soup that goes with it. We have rice that is mixed with roasted vegetables, things like that. So slowly but surely, and certainly once I have control on the website, we'll be increasing the number of items that are available as choices, but also changing them on, as I said, weekly, fortnightly basis, and hopefully that'll help things. Let me just go over my list, see if there's any other questions. There was a question about allergies and allergy information. Once we get the new website up and running, there'll be a lot of information like that on it. Also, at the moment, if any child or any parent is concerned regarding that, you can email me, you can send me a WhatsApp message. The WhatsApp link on the ordering website is my WhatsApp. It didn't before, but now it comes directly to me. So if there's any concerns and you want to get hold of me, you can WhatsApp me through the website, or you can send me an email. Email, I generally don't respond as fast as WhatsApp. WhatsApp is probably the best if it's something urgent, the best way to contact me. So if any of the children have had particular allergies, so that you want me to address, it's not a problem. I have all the information on what we're serving in the cafeteria, and I'll be able to help with that on a one-on-one basis. Again, there's a concern about the portion sizes between the kindergarten early years and the ES. The portion sizes we generally make, we do the portions according to the ages, according to the classes. For instance, the early years and kindergarten, generally all the food is cut up into small portions so that the kiddies can eat it. The ES, elementary school and middle school, we don't cut up portions. Another question was the options on food, the different, sorry, I'm just reading through. There was a concern about the balanced meal that is being worked on at the moment. I yesterday sent the administrator of the current website to include the option. At the moment, as it stands, you can only order, let's say, schnitzel with one item. Hopefully, by next week at the latest, you'll be able to order a carbohydrate and a vegetable. So that's even on the current website. We're going to get that implemented. I'm sure by early next week that'll be up and running already. Any other questions?
I have one question. It's Karina speaking. I have two middle schoolers. One is a well eater, the other one is a picky eater. So just small portions, just trying. Is there an option that, because you can see most probably that there might be a difference. I don't know about elementary school. Is there a possibility that to order like a smaller meal for him to at least try it, to say, I like it, and then we go on bigger portions or something like that? He's always afraid he might not like it.
At the moment, no. Your children are in elementary school?
No, they're in middle school, 6th grade and 8th grade. So one will move up to high school anyhow. So.
Okay. So middle school come to the cafeteria. You, with no problem whatsoever, you can tell your children to approach me. I'm here every mealtime. I'm in the cafeteria every mealtime. You can ask your children to approach me, and I can give them to taste whatever they like. That way we can if there's something they like, that they're welcome to come and taste the food. They don't have to buy.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. Thanks.
All right, I have another question from another person. Would you consider getting input from students about what healthy foods they would like to eat, especially older students?
Absolutely, no problem at all. I'm open to all suggestions. Some of them I might not follow up on, but I will certainly listen to any suggestions, any recommendations that people have, and I will look into implementing them if we are able to.
There's another question about the schnitzel. Does it come in small pieces? Like I think what they're trying to ask is, there's schnitzel every day. Are there different types of schnitzel every day? Like sometimes cut in strips, sometimes whole, sometimes a nugget?
Yeah, at the moment, what's happening is we're together with the chef. I'm testing different schnitzels. They were previously, they were making the schnitzels here. They were buying chicken fillets, frozen chicken fillets, and then making the schnitzels here. It wasn't a good option because everything was being deep fried. I'm trying to move away from that now. So we're looking at, we're buying frozen schnitzels, which can then be baked and heated in the oven. And they don't have to be refried again. Because what happens with schnitzels, when you refry them, once they've been frozen, they absorb a lot more oil. So I'm looking at moving away from using chip fries and more baked in the oven, that sort of thing. Last week, we had a supplier bring me samples of a chicken schnitzel that's not crumb. It's in a panko batter, and at the moment it looks like that we might be moving to that. It's a much healthier option. It has very, very little oil content, and it's easily baked in the oven. So that's what we're looking at with regard to that.
All right.
Oh, can I ask a question?
Go ahead.
I'm the person with the schnitzel. I think my question is, my boy only eats schnitzels. The question is, can I rely on that every day there will be schnitzel?
Every day there will.
Because before it wasn't like that.
No, it will. It'll be a standard item on the menu because a lot of children eat it. It's one of the biggest selling items in the cafeteria. So it is a popular item. The only thing is that I'm trying to source a really good, healthy, and tasty schnitzel. So it's something that can be baked in the oven, that doesn't dry out, that isn't covered in crumbs with sesame seeds and so on. So yeah, but there will be, definitely.
And will you be able to announce from which day there will be schnitzel every day? Because only then I can send my boy.
At the moment it's available. At the moment it's available every single day. No problem.
Have you considered a farm-to-table approach for the cafeteria? There are many options in this area for fresh food.
Farm to table?
Mm-hmm.
It's unfortunate that it's not an option. We have to buy through licensed manufacturers. We can't source from farms. We can't go directly to farms that produce free-range eggs or free-range chickens, things like that. The health department is very, very strict about items moving from one area to another, how it's transported, where it comes from, who the manufacturer is. So we have to work within those grounds. So farm-to-table option is very, very, very difficult.
Does food contain preservatives, food coloring, or artificial flavoring?
Most of the food that we serve don't. There are very, very little because one of the recommendations or requests from Department of Education is that you do not serve anything like that. We have to be very, very careful, and we check everything we bring in. We check the ingredients. We check whether there's anything that can lead to allergies and that sort of thing. So we check everything very, very carefully, and we avoid anything that has excessive preservatives. A lot of the prepared food comes frozen, so there's no preservatives in it at all.
Is it possible to get rid of soda completely? Is it still being offered at school?
Sodas are not available to the children at all. Soda water and flavored soda water, yes, but certainly Coca-Cola, Fanta, all of those things, we don't even buy them anymore.
What desserts are on offer? Fresh fruit?
We have fresh fruit every day on the buffet. That has been for the last 3 weeks since we came back to school. And also they used to have a lot of sugary donuts and stuff like that. I've removed all of that. They work with the Pillsbury bread and manufacturer, and we bring in frozen dough ready for proofing. All the bread is cooked on site, and we also have croissants, cinnamon buns, and what the Israeli call rogalach, the little chocolate rolls. those are options for dessert, and that I'm prepared to allow. The other sugary things we've removed completely from the buffet.
All right. Is there any more questions? Oh, got another one. Oh, it's thank you. Thank you so much for your positive changes to the food offerings at school. It's wonderful to see things moving on this healthy direction.
My main aim to start with, as I started, was just to get the cafeteria and the cafeteria staff in line with what is supposed to be happening regarding health authority standards and certainly the education department standards. It's an ongoing process, this, and your input is absolutely valuable to me. I need to know what the kids are eating, what they don't want to eat, so that we can, going forward, we can build menus that everyone will be happy with. The state of the buffet for the children coming to the cafeteria, the high school and middle school children, has improved vastly. It is much better. There's a lot of options that aren't available on the online menu. We have 3 to 4 main course items every day. We have all the carbohydrates. We have different vegetables. There's a salad bar that I introduced a while back. So there's fresh salads every single day for someone that doesn't want a hot meal. The sandwiches, as I said, the Pillsbury rolls and Geppetto bread are baked every single morning fresh. Anything that's left at the end of the day is taken to a charity. One of our workers works together with a charity. So anything that is left, any leftovers, are packed up and they donate it to charity. So nothing is reused the following day. We try as much as possible to make it very difficult at the moment with all the corona changes and the middle school not being here and the high school not. It's very difficult, but as much as possible, we try and cook what is needed for the day, so that there isn't any wastage either.
Sorry, I have one more question. Will you, if you manage to implement the new web page, will there be everything on that web page so one has an idea? Because due to the fact of us parents not being in school, no one has a clue what anything costs. And sometimes I know the cafeteria is also quite full. I love everything you're saying. It sounds amazing. If everything works out, I know I will have happy children. I won't have to cook at home anymore. But just for that, I would like to know, where are we at? What is the costing of the items?
Generally, there are a few different costings. A meal, a standard meal for middle school and high school is in the region of 35 shekels. They have a premium meal as well, which is salmon or roast beef, things like that, which we're going to be introducing. That'll be in the region of 40 shekels a meal. It'll include a carbohydrate, a vegetable. Also, children that are coming to the cafeteria, if they order a meal at 35 shekels, they can help themselves to the salad bar as well. It's included in the price. They're welcome to help themselves. If someone just wants a salad, it's 20 shekels. They can have just a plain. They can build their own salad from the salad bar. So the costings. You asked another question, which is very interesting, about the new website. Will everything be available? Everything won't be available on a daily basis or weekly basis. But my idea is that we will put up a wish list on the website that will have everything that is available in the cafeteria. So you'll be able to put on your wish list items, and as soon as they come available for that week or that fortnight, it'll automatically come up on your ordering system. Another thing, while we're on the subject with the website, at the moment, the way the website works is you have to order individually for each child. You have to go in, order that,
No.
child, go pay, go out, come back. So that I've been working together with the people that are going to be building it, and that's something that we're going to not have. You will be registered as the parent, and you will be able to put in anything up to 5 children, and you'll be able to order individually for each child, and they'll come at as one cost. You won't have to go in and out of the website all the time. You'll go in with your name, with your password, and your children. You pick your child and you pick the meals on and the dates. Close the order, pick the next child, the same procedure, and so on and so on. And at the end of it, you go to the checkout, and you will be charged for all the meals that you've ordered, be it for a week in advance or 2 weeks in advance.
Wonderful. Thank you very, very much. One last question. Will there be a difference in the kids going to school straight up to the cafeteria, shopping there themselves because they want to have a look at it regarding to the webpage? So if we pre-order, is there, you're planning on?
If you pre-order, at the moment, what's happening with the pre-orders with the middle school, we generally, the middle school comes any time between 11 and 11:15. So at about 11:45, there's never that many orders for middle school. It's between 5 to 12, 14 a day. So we make them at about 11:45. We make them, we put them in takeaway boxes, and we keep them in a warmer. And when the child comes, they do that. If there's anything under 6 orders, generally I tell them not to prepare them in advance, to wait for the child. We have the list available, to wait for the child to come to the counter, and we give them the meal that they've ordered. And then they also have the option of adding vegetables, even though it's not at the moment available on the site. They can have vegetables, they can add salad with no extra cost.
Yeah, it was more the question, thanks for that, but it was more the question. I know from our old school, if you pre-ordered and the father in advance, you pre-ordered, the cheaper the meal would be, you would order, because obviously the cafeteria also gets a chance to plan ahead. You know what you're buying.
So basically, you're saying if the pre-ordered meals will be cheaper than the meals if someone comes physically to the cafeteria?
That's more the question, just to know, it's not to ask of that.
It'll be the same.
Perfect, wonderful. Thank you very, very much. Thank you.
All right, and Devin has a question? Or
yes.
Yeah, not a question. I just wanted to, I want to thank Gerald publicly. He's been, for his short tenure, he's already made significant changes. And one of the things that I really appreciate about Gerald, and I think it's evidenced by this meeting, is he's very service oriented. He's thinking ahead, and I know that there's other plans that, like he's shared today, that are, and it's just so fantastic to have a person focused on this, especially with his significant experience. So I just want to thank Gerald publicly for the work that he's been doing, and the work that I know, and the value that he's going to add as he continues to work with the school. So thanks, Gerald.
Thank you, Devin.
All right, we're going to go and wrap up. And thank you so much, Gerald, again for stepping in and coming and doing all that you've done.
Just one thing again, I have to reiterate, I'm available all the time. It doesn't matter how insignificant your query is, your problem is, I'm available all the time. It has to be an interaction between the parents and myself, so that we can get this show 100% where we want it. Don't feel that you're bothering me. As I said, the easiest way to contact me is through the website. The WhatsApp link comes directly to me. Generally, I reply to WhatsApps within a few minutes of getting them. If I don't have an answer and I have to look into it, I will still reply. and let you know what's going on. So thank you very much for this opportunity. And I'm hoping that going forward, we are only going to improve.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, and now I'm going to turn it over to Devin Pratt, our superintendent, and Nancy Diehl, our COVID part of our Dr. Nancy Diehl, part of our COVID response team.
Thank you. Thanks, Sarah. So I want to start by just letting you know that we've been full on working the COVID response to not only the most recent outbreak, but also significant changes in the guidelines pretty regularly. So one of the things that we kind of joke about with the COVID response leadership team, because if we do have to have some laughter on that team, because it's a significant amount of pressure, it's a significant amount of time, and a lot of times we're making decisions with not a whole lot of time. So one of the things that we do kind of laugh about is the fact that there's only been one thing that's been consistent throughout this whole process, and that's been inconsistency. So we are working with inconsistent rules that come to us that sometimes they make sense, sometimes they don't, but we also understand that the government and the Ministry of Health and Ministry of Education are dealing with the same thing we are. They're dealing with doing the best they can to make to respond to the COVID outbreak, specifically the newest one. So we've been so busy, I didn't really think about this until yesterday afternoon. I was looking at my calendar, I saw this was on the calendar, and I reached out to Sarah to ask if there was any way that I thought you might find it valuable for Nancy and I to address you and talk to you a little bit about what's going on. And so I appreciate Sarah doing that. I just want to say publicly, there is a group, a COVID response leadership team. It includes principals, counselors. It includes Nancy as the COVID coordinator. It includes nurses. It includes operations. It includes communications. And this group, throughout the entire process, with all the different kinds of things that COVID has thrown to us, and it's not always just health. We had a number of curveballs thrown at us over the winter break around reentry of 32 of our teachers, to include myself. We had, and that was COVID related as a response, as a result of the government's changes. So we just thought it would be great. We want to, Nancy's going to share with you a couple of slides to give you a sense of kind of what we've been dealing with, and then we'll open it to questions or comments at that point. So Sarah, can Nancy share her screen? She's got a couple of slides she'd like to share.
She should already be co-host and may have
Gotcha. Great. So this is Nancy Diehl, and let me just say this also. Prior to hiring Nancy, one of the things that happens with COVID as we're dealing with it, as things change, we develop systems, and sometimes those systems are valuable for like a day or two. And then there's a whole new set of criteria. And then we try to set up systems to meet that need. And so it was before Nancy was here, it was kind of whoever we either delegated to or tried to add this to their regular day jobs of trying to make sure we have strong programs for your children. And now that Nancy is doing this, we're to have somebody focused on it has been very valuable. And she's been able to focus. And I know she does a whole lot of translating from Hebrew to English, but she has managed to be very helpful in getting us, helping us keep ahead of this as much as possible. So with that, I'll turn it over to you, Nancy.
Okay, thanks. So what you can see is the title of the most exciting title you may ever see, COVID by the Numbers. Wow, so glad you invited us. But as I was thinking yesterday about what you might want to know or understand, I just wanted to kind of put together a few things for you to understand the process, as Devin mentioned. Thanks, Devin. So this slide here is a timeline of an event that you might experience if you were on the COVID leadership team. It looks a little bit like a board game, and as I go through it, I'll throw in some glitches right there. So we get notified of an event. The next step is the nurses do an elaborate and in-depth contact tracing to touch base with the student about what they've done, who they've been with, what sport they've done, what club. So we're sure that we have a really comprehensive safety net. Then there's the inevitable, ready to hop on a Zoom? And you see from that icon, that is there. 3 days in the past 7, we've been on Zooms from 10 p.m. to midnight, working to do this as a team. The next step, once the team meets and sort of plans out who's doing what, is to get onto PowerSchool. And there's a COVID plugin that we have. And so we're able to select students. It identifies everyone who's been in class with that student in all their classes. And then we can also select a bus. So it integrates that into a single list. So we have then the contact tracing group. After that, there's more fun. The next thing is the communication to the staff, because there are significant changes that have to be made if 60% of your students are likely to not be there tomorrow. And to the exposed teachers who need to, or until today, needed to get tested. The next picture, you might wonder, this communication to families, your child has been exposed. Why does the family look so happy? Well, like your family, the parents are not always delighted by work, and their children are perfect. And this offers them the opportunity to spend even more minutes together. Also, I couldn't find a good image that represented anything else. Number 7 is finding substitute teachers. We're internally hunting and battling each other to some degree because there's a very limited number of subs. And so acquiring access to them is challenging because in every division we need them. So there's a scarcity issue there. Step 8 is return to school. On the pre-return, uploading the forms, what is your antigen tests, and reviewing those. And finally, you get to the end. So in this thing that looks like a board game, I also, just as I was at this meeting, had some ideas of like, take a card from pile A, government changes regulations, go back 2 steps. Take a card from pile B. Last night there was a soccer team exposure. Only as a former soccer player myself, I know that when you're playing, you're not in contact with people for more than 15 minutes. In a distance of less than 2 meters. So that was a like go forward 3 steps. We dodged that one. So that's just a little bit of a sense of what happens in processing an event. I'm not sure why I can't progress on the slides. Okay, there we go. It's just really slow. Sorry about that. So the next thing that I'm going to ask you to do is just to kind of consider, and I'll see if I can move on for you or not.
Sometimes it's down in the far left-hand corner. If you put your scroll, sometimes I've found that's.
Oh, hey, nice. Thank you. Tech support. Okay. So this slide here and the next one are both some numbers that I just wanted you to either write in the chat or think about for a moment. 546, 16, and 2,154. And because I'm sharing my screen in this way, I actually don't have access to the chat. So what I wanted you to think about or write, and I'll look at it later, is what that might represent. And okay, so we have one brave soul, thank you. 546 is the number of students, the number of like total not this unique students, but the number of times anyone has been impacted who is a student. That doesn't include the teachers. 16 is the number of unique exposure events that we've had. And 2,154 is the number of antigen test kits that we have taken out of their box of 20 package. Mandy Kern, the Director of Teaching and Learning, has been an expert packer, And we've gotten those out to all teachers and students at this point, and we're finishing up there. So the next set of numbers for you, 396 is the number of unique individuals that have been exposed to COVID. So if you are here, you are probably someone who has had someone in your family, one of your children, have some kind of exposure at school. It's 70% of our student population that have been involved, and that's not ever, that's since last Thursday. All of these numbers are in the past week with this Omicron surge that we've had. Oh, I'm sorry. I was editing slides just at the last minute. So there's some numbers that I didn't update in terms of that 2154 showing up again. 80 is the number of students that at the beginning of this meeting, we had cleared since yesterday to come back to school. So those are the unvaccinated students who had been quarantining at home who are back on campus. There is more because the vaccinated students didn't need to go through that process. So that feels really exciting to us, or at least to me. Here, this is an example of a slide that we made to help people have clarity and understanding about how to know when to do what. I show you that because here is the updated slide of that from yesterday, where every single piece of information on that slide is different. And at 8:59, I received confirmation from the district COVID coordination at the Ministry of Education that what I have is correct. And so I'll be putting it on the website shortly. At 1 p.m. yesterday, we got word that the new restrictions were going into effect as of today, and we wanted to get word out to you as quickly as possible with what this means, what to do, and how to deal with your kid. So the tech staff spent about 2 hours putting this image together and the other one, and uploading and updating everything on the website. This is, some things don't go as planned. This week it's been amazing. Yesterday I saw the early years kids on tricycles touring campus, the elementary school on the playground, middle school was at home at the time, high school's doing MUN, robotics, soccer, after school math. It's just great that we can still find ways to have kids involved, active, and participating. This morning I was excited to see middle school come back. So at 8:45, I ran over to middle school to take this great picture of middle school back in action. But apparently that's not when they have their core classes. So you see here the empty classroom. This morning was cold and rainy. And just after that, that was the campus just cold and wet and ready for kids to come play. So I just wanted to say thank you for your partnership, all the testing, all the uploading, all the changes, dealing with kids at home who are hybrid, getting devices. It's really an unbelievable amount of work that you have been doing too, to ensure your kids have a firm, solid education and interpersonal connection and relationships with their friends and teachers during this time, but especially this week. So thanks for that, all you're doing every day, and wanted to open it up to comments or questions. And I picked a variety of emojis because I think we all have a whole host of emotions around what's happening here.
If no one starts, I'm happy to start. Hi, this is Karina again. So I have two things. First of all, thank you for everything you're doing. I know it's a load, and every time everyone just sees their own plate full of what's coming, you know. So you get the email saying, oh, your child might have been exposed. Okay, guys, let's get testing. Oh, there are no tests. Can we buy tests anywhere? No, we can't. Then on Sunday night, you get an email saying you can pick up tests from school, but only when your kid is in school again. So it's like, it's very hard and very confusing, but I guess it's all the same with you. I have a question because regarding middle school, as I said earlier, my kids are both in middle school. We have the 28th of January, the sports marathon coming up. And I think most of the parents of middle school are pretty worried. Our kids are totally, entirely excited because they've heard all about it. It's a fantastic day. It's a great opportunity. It's wow, it's exciting and everything. For me as a parent, it scares me to death thinking of next week's Friday. I have to send my kids to school for a whole day, being exposed with all the kids in middle school, where they all always have to wear a mask, but then you don't have to because you have to show team membership, be partners, engaged, and be happy and glory. This is something that really gives me the creeps. And I know that high school's done something similar, but they've already pushed it forward. So just having received the email that most probably it's going to be a go ahead, maybe it might not be. I would love to put that question out regarding the sports marathon. When we might ease our inner fear of having another weekend just by ourselves and telling our kids not to be with any friends apart from maybe who they meet online.
Right. Thank you, Karina. Nancy, I'll start with this, and you're welcome to follow up. One of the things that your question's appreciated because it brings the question, the whole idea of balance. And what we're trying to do is balance, making sure that the kids have the programs that we want them to have, and that we don't find ourselves in a situation where we run out of both human resources to be able to have the program on campus, but also just that the numbers would drop so low that we're not able, that it just doesn't make sense to have programs on campus. So every single decision that we make, we have the guidance of Nancy, we have the guidance of the nurses, and within the guidelines of what Ministry of Health and Ministry of Education are offering. And one of the things that they are around sports is we are able to have sports. We're able to offer sports as programs. The programs where these happen are outdoors, and also in the gym, where the gym is one of our 2 facilities that has fresh air constantly pumped in. It's not like classrooms are more difficult. That's why we have windows open, and we're working on a pilot program for some clean air cleaners, purifiers that will be in the schools. We've worked to get a grant from the U.S. Department of State Department, the Office of Overseas Schools, to cover the cost of that. And so, but we're thinking about the safety from other ways as well. I mean, so in the gym and outdoors, the safety is less of a concern than it would be, say, in a small classroom where kids are wearing masks. We require masks in those cases. So we want to have kids at least have the option if they want to continue on a team. The other thing is we recognize that right now we're in the middle of what feels like a storm for the next 4 to 6 weeks. And we are, probably, hopefully less, depends on what we read in the news, but, and there are some of those programs that we want to make sure the kids continue. The robotics is another example. I mean, robotics is a program that we're continuing. We're trying to spread out some of those days, like Sundays now, for activities, because I do understand your concern, Karina, but I feel like in this case, to try to make sure that we're, as you kind of suggested, any decision that we have made as a school, I can promise you I will get maybe 2 or 3 thank yous. And then the people that aren't happy with it, I'll get more significant feedback from them. And then vice versa. Like if it's even if we kind of go the other way, I know at least, it's almost I don't know if it's 50-50, but I know it's pretty close to 50-50 parents who are upset that we're going to be on campus, parents that are upset that we're not going to be on campus. And so what we're trying to do is do the best we can to balance that. So I hope that, I understand your concern. We are continuing to, we every single meeting, we go through different events and we look at whether or not we think we can have those events. We've postponed many events. We've canceled some events. But we feel like that particular one, based on the conversation we're having, at least at this point, because I know that Mr. O'Connell's message would suggest that we could pull the plug on that at the last minute. but that's the way this has been
Okay.
for 2 years. Nancy, anything
Okay.
else you want to add to that?
Yeah, I just agree. I mean, there's a wide range of emotions around everything, and we see, you know, a lot of the psychological consequences of the 2 years of pandemic for, you know, all kids who are not having a normal experience of what they have, and finding that kind of balance. And I think a piece in there also, there was an exposure today, and with the high school kids being remote for right now, they wouldn't need to miss any school to complete their isolation and return. So I think there's a lot that we're doing, both in terms of how the events are being run, but also in spacing out the time so that we can really ensure that kids both get the academic and the social emotional balance they need. And it's a challenge, and individuals feel really differently about, you know, I've heard parents say, my family was sick, someone, you know, several months ago, and I just couldn't get this fifth kid to get the virus. I just wanted everyone to have it and be done. And then many people who are very concerned about things like long COVID exposure, not knowing what the long-term effects are. So it's really just tough all around, and there's a wide range of emotions about everything. And I appreciate people contributing their thoughts.
And Karina, just to get back to your specific question, because yeah, we are planning on having it, but we are also, I mean, it's still under, you know, it's getting close. It's a week from Friday, but where it is under consideration. And if things do not, you know, if things were to look like they're getting worse, or there may be any number of reasons that we would postpone.
You did enter it in between already. You said Mr. OC managed that he said he could pull the plug last minute, so that already was my answer. Thank you very much for that.
We have another question come in. Will more antigen tests be distributed? We are almost out after this last week, or do we need to try to hunt some down at some pharmacies?
Nancy?
Well, yesterday's news said yes. So we're still finishing distributing the ones that we received. In terms of having staff, like, it's great to have a dedicated cafeteria person. It would be great at this point to have a dedicated antigen test kit coordination center. We're kind of creating that. What it said in the news, and what we understand to be true, is that there's many millions of test kits that the government has bought. They're intending to distribute 6 more tests per student. The municipality hasn't received them yet. The school hasn't received them yet. And then we need to get them together and out to you. We try to do that as soon as possible. And we don't have more to give until we get them through those channels. There's a really tightly controlled inventory system. So even if, you know, you need 3 more and we have them, we can't give them out because we're not authorized to give them in those circumstances. So hunt if you need them now. With the new testing regulations, there's less that's needed. And we're also trying to create more ways for you to know how to do it, because it sounds like some people have we get what to do from the website, but the how is hard, finding the antigen tests, getting the kits, reading the map in Hebrew. So as those questions come in, we are looking for solutions and then putting them up on the website when we have that. So there's a lot of options for the government antigen tests around. Like, there's a pop-up in Piano over where I am in Area Meme, and the website shows how busy each site is, one of the links, with a red, orange, or green Hebrew star or Jewish star. So there's some more information out there, but yes, coming sometime to a place near you. And the government says after that set of 6, they anticipate also distributing more again.
And I got to spend 30 minutes yesterday putting the packets together, and they found out that I am one of the slowest people at putting the paper into the plastic sleeve. Everybody else seems to be faster. They're probably going to give me a new job next time.
All right, here's another question that came in. Will there be boosters offered at school? Second vaccination/green passes are expiring for the older kids, and it's tough finding vaccine sites for uninsured or not insured here in Israel, or resources on the COVID page where we'll be able to find the boosters.
Yeah, so let me start by let me start by saying I want to thank everybody that brought their kids for the vaccine campaign that we did last week. Nancy was huge part of helping us organize that. And I think it was much, it wasn't efficient as we had loved for it to be, but it was quite efficient. The fact that parents could sit in their car and be comfortable until they got up, and we don't have a lot of control over that anyway. We can help because it's not us that actually does the vaccines or even organizes it, but it went quite well. We had close to 80 kids get vaccinated. And we were told at the time that the Ministry of Health had said there will be no more vaccines on schools or in schools. And part of the reason is because when they set up a similar program in the Israeli schools, most people, to your point of the question, most people are part of a health program here and they can go get their vaccines quite easily. Whereas a lot of the expatriates that are part of the WBIS, they have less options. And so because the numbers were so low in the Israeli schools, because people had their other options, they stopped the program, which we were able to get into just under the wire. We had to do it on that day. There was no other choice. It had to be that day. So the news did not look good last Wednesday, but Nancy and I have the good fortune to work with Ada Renan. I think many of you know her. I just call Ada the fixer. While I can't make any promises right now, what I can tell you is that Ada is starting to pull on a thread that she's found out about. And I don't have a great level of confidence right now that we'll be able to do it, but when I say that, I think I've never heard of Ada starting to pull on a thread that it didn't turn into something that we wanted. So I feel like maybe we'll end up having some opportunity. And what we're looking for now is not only what we would like to do, because we weren't able to do this in the vaccine last time. They would not give boosters or adult doses. So what we hope to do is have a campaign that would allow the younger kids 5 to 12 to have their second shot, which, by the way, we're starting to get some of it. That's starting to pay dividends in the elementary school because more and more kids are starting to reach that level of what's considered vaccinated. And then the second thing is that we hope to have boosters and as well as the adult doses for anybody that might need them. Other questions?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks.
I'm going to just jump in quickly about the vaccine clinic. I don't know if all of you are aware, but in addition to the nearly 80 kids who got got their vaccines, significant percentage of those, that was their second vaccine. So it's really exciting that today they're fully vaccinated and able to return to school because of that, and will be able to stay in school with that. For 24 of those kids, one of the exposures that we've had this week was the nurse who did the vaccination. And so 24 little kids who came for a shot then got exposed and sent into quarantine because they had the joy of getting a shot. So that is just a really unfortunate experience for those kids. Families were great about understanding and getting through that, but it was just a piece of like, oh, I think that's in my board game. Go back 7 steps. Your child in getting looking to contribute to public health has now just gotten hit.
Yeah, that was one of the 16 cases where we had a positive case, and that was a difficult one to hear. I know.
There are no other questions. I'm going to ask one more question, please. It's regarding the late bus. It's regarding, I know that you need to somehow squeeze elementary kindergartners, high schoolers in one bus. And if it's not the high schoolers, then the middle schoolers get on that bus and everyone has to just feel safe in a way. If we're doing that on the late bus, I know that the late bus is always scrunched and children are sitting in middle rows and on top of each other. It's rarely that this doesn't happen. It's something where I go like, I don't get the point why I pay school bus fees by the end of the day having to pick up my child, so I feel my child is safe. This is something which bugs me quite a bit, to be honest, to know that the bus situation is not a good situation.
Yeah, I mean, so Karina, I mean, I'm not sure if they're, yeah.
I'm not talking about the ones during daytime, not
Oh,
the ordinary
I know
times. I
you're
know that
talking
you're
about-
busy.
I
I'm
understand.
talking actually I just try to minimize it onto the late bus right now because it's packed, it's hammered with all
Right.
age groups in there.
Oh, I understand. There's a 4:30 and a 5:30 bus. I understand your concern. So first of all, one of the things that we are trying to do within the buses, there are no guidelines from the government about the buses. One of the things about many of the guidelines that the government gives us is we're in a very unique situation. Most government schools can close school midday and send kids home. They can all walk to their houses and stuff. We don't have those options. The buses are a very different scenario. So we offer the service. The way we think about buses as well as all things is we try to identify what is a contact tracing group. So if there is a positive case, we know who the contact tracing group is. And so the way we deal with the late bus, and go ahead. I'm not
actually just concerned about the cases. Let's not worry about the cases and the buses being packed. It doesn't matter it matters about the cases too. But as a matter of fact, ever since we started the school, my boys come happily once a week and tell me, "Oh, this bus was crowded today." No, they didn't know how to start the bus because people were sitting in the middle row. No, they had to jump off. They had to call their parents. They had to ask if someone can pick them up. Was not enough. It's just a general late bus issue, which I'm just pointing out. And that's
Sure.
So I do get the fact of COVID, but I think these are like 2 pages because we
Great.
hope that the COVID time will be better eventually.
Sure. Well, let me just point out 2 things there, Karina. Thank you. First of all, we have somebody now that's managing the buses, which we didn't have before, like an adult out there managing the buses. And second of all, we have come up with a system to around the COVID to more clearly capture who's on what bus, so we have clear contact tracing. So there is somebody out there. So I do know there were some problems earlier this year. I don't know if it's been recent. If it's been recent, I need to know because I can work with Dorley, the director of finance and operations, to make sure that whatever the issue was, that we give some direction to the adult that's working the buses.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Thanks.
We had a question come in. Can the school advise parents where to get boosters if they're not within Israeli health system?
Nancy?
I'm going to hop on that. My favorite answer to that is Orly, the tech director, had sent me a link to a page that had a map. And first I had a little trouble figuring out what the different colors meant. And then I found it. I found the key, purple dots, government sites, not Kupat Cholim, HMOs. So yay, all we need to do is follow the purple dots. And I was able to advise a couple of people and share that link. And then I shared it with one teacher who was looking for a vaccine for herself and her daughter. And I said, oh, just click on the purple, look for the purple dots, you're good to go. And there were no more purple dots. So the places that we have shared with you how to get them, and there's kind of a big fat tricky 0. So we're trying to look for that. In addition, occasionally there are options that pop up, and that's a great reminder because I'm not sure if it's this Friday or next Friday. I know there is a place and an option, and I'll get that and put it on the website just with a specific date. But it's really tricky, and the other, the Kupalim are so specific, but so easy if you're a part of that to just go get a shot. And it's so in the best interest of the government for us to be able to access that. So I think let Auto work her magic.
And
It comes in.
what else can our community do to find these places? Because this is
They don't exist right now, so it's not about finding them.
How can
It's
they not
about
exist?
creating them.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, that's why we're focused on creating the vaccines on campus, because we don't have any control over what the government does about how they handle that. So we're trying to solve that problem as best we can by using our facilities and our resources to set those vaccines up. And to be clear, if we're able to do that.
Sorry, but this doesn't really sound right, because the community, there's a big majority of the school community who are expats. It doesn't sound right to me that they don't know where to, that at the moment there's no option for them to get vaccinated, boosters. It doesn't sound right to me.
I agree with you.
You're all here serving government purposes, not all, but a big portion of our community. And I was also surprised over the last week to see that parents are struggling to find where to get the boosters from. I'm sure that's.
I agree.
I mean, this is the key to getting our kids back in school, to having more of the children get their third shot.
I agree.
Can I make a comment on that? So
That's why I hope we're able to. I mean, on two previous occasions. Well, sure. Go ahead, Edward.
I know it's not an ideal solution, but if people who are not registered, there is an insurance company, I think through Clalita, you can buy a 3-week insurance, which then allows you to be able to get the booster during that period. So I can get the information and share it with you, and people can do it. Obviously, it cost us at one moment like 250 shekels per person for the 3 weeks, but then you were able to go into, you were basically registered and you could get the booster from it. So I'm just putting it out there as an option.
Thank you. That's fantastic.
Edward, I'm putting Nancy's email in the chat. Could you send that to her?
I feel like Devin's going to put Nancy's cell phone number in the chat.
Yeah, right.
Home address.
Her address, yeah.
I will send you the email. I used an insurance agent who connected. It was very easy. And at the time, my wife wasn't registered. Now she is, so there's no problem. And she was able to get her vaccination here. And as I said, I know it's more expensive, but at least it's an option.
Well, no, we appreciate any option is helpful. Thank you very much.
I'm sorry. Can I interact? It's just not true what you're saying about vaccine. There's no need to buy any special insurance, and Clalita is definitely not special insurance. I'm sorry, it's our regular HMOs. You're just looking in the wrong place, because you're looking at the governmental website that is not updated, not updated in Hebrew. It's not updated in English. Definitely, there are places constantly for vaccine. They're usually in South Tel Aviv. Give me a few minutes, I will find them for you. It keep on changing. It's not the same every day. And it's either by Pikuda Olef that takes care of it, or by the MDA. It is not the governmental one. Vaccines are completely offered to anybody. I know personally people who illegal in Israel and got vaccine for the 3rd time with no problem. I'll tell you a little secret. Any vaccine center you'll go, and just take your chance like any good old Israeli, and go in and say, I'm not part of any insurance medical, I need a vaccine. Here's the vaccine I did so far, or here's none of the vaccine I did so far. They'll vaccinate you. I have news for you. Everybody have the interest that we all be vaccinated.
Thanks,
So
Carl. If you can send any information to Nancy.
Of course, I'm in touch with Nancy, and I will convey it to her. Just keep in mind, it keep on changing on a daily basis.
Yep. Thank you. Thanks.
All right, guys, we really do have to wrap it up, and we're about 10 minutes over the hour. Julie Fisher just wanted to say something real quick, and then we'll say goodbye. And of course, everyone, please feel welcome to email Nancy any of your questions, Devin, any of your questions. if you're not comfortable with that, send it to PTA, we'll send it to them. Like, as for anonymous, like, what, we're here for you guys. We're here to support you and to make sure you get all the information that you need.
Or Nancy, your email box is going to be filling up, I think.
It already is.
I bet. I bet. I just wanted to say, with my Board of Trustees hat on, thank you, Sarah and the PTA, for hosting, and really excited to hear about the changes in the cafeteria. And huge thanks to Devin and Nancy and the COVID response leadership team. I just, I'm seeing it firsthand behind the scenes that they are working around the clock, 24/7, dealing with this changing and ongoing pandemic that we are all tired of. The students, the parents, the faculty, the staff, everybody. And I just want to say thank you to the whole community for your patience and understanding, and just a huge thank you to Devin and Nancy and team for leading the efforts. And hopefully we'll be through this uptick in the next few weeks and back to normal pandemic times. And just want to say a big thank you to the whole community.
Thank you. All right, guys, you have a wonderful day. Thank you for attending, and hopefully next month we'll be in person.